Hello and welcome to Biz Bites, where we're trying to give more businesses an opportunity for you to get to know them a little bit better. And I'm really excited to have with me today Linh Podetti from Outsourcing Angel. Linh, thank you so much for coming along to Biz Bites.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, and I love the name Outsourcing Angel because it kind of alludes to what you're all about. So, just as a quick introduction, give me what the business is about.
Sure. So as you know, the name is very obvious. It's about outsourcing. It's about how to actually free business owners' time by allowing them to outsource tasks that they shouldn't be really doing and allowing them to, free up time to do what they really love. So we really send angels into your business. So that these angels come in the form of virtual assistants from the Philippines. So we nowadays help people not just hiring these angels, but we also help them to systemize, automate, and then place the angel in for them as well.
Yeah, and one of the questions that I try and get everyone to think about before they come on the program is asking about the biggest challenges that people are finding and the reason that they come to you. So I love yours. If you don't mind me reading it out here, it's our customers' biggest challenge is balancing time constraints and burnout while lacking knowledge and implementing effective business systems that promote growth and prioritization. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I totally understand. It's burnout and being able to implement things. It's time is a big factor, isn't it, for businesses these days?
Exactly, because the thing is, there's only there's 24 hours in a day, and even when you free up time, if you haven't got the right systems and kind of prioritization, you will end up being busy again, just doing other things that might not even grow your business. So I'm a living proof of exactly that. I've been able to grow my business, but to a point where I don't have to be in the business, that I can travel every single month, spending so much time with my family, and I want that for clients. And it comes down to having the right tools, systems, and even learning how to delegate, learning how to free up control, decision making, and then learning to even then design your life around your business rather than let your business really take over your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Big fan of putting time back into things. And as a little break in between, if you haven't read it, Dan Martell's book, I get that bit of a mouthful. Buying Back Your Time, really worthwhile having a read or a listen to if you haven't done that. But I'm interested in how you began with all of this. So take me back to where this business and even the idea for the business began.
Sure. So, over a decade ago, I was very motivated to really start something for myself because I was a single mom. I started working corporate jobs, and I'm like, oh my God, like I was looking forward to being 18 and being an adult, and then I'm still stuck in, it's almost like a school, when you have to come to work at a certain time, you finish at a certain time. If you need a day off, you got to pretend you're sick. And I was like, oh my God, I need a business to save me, and also a business to actually allow me to create freedom and financial freedom for my son. I was very motivated to really, set a good example for my kid. And so that was me trying to figure out what am I going to do next. And so I started an e-commerce business. I've never really learned about service business or anything. And, usually the first business you think about a product, right? And so this first product was a nail polish product that my friend gave to me, and I basically thought I was going to be a millionaire out of this business by, if only a million women buy my product, even if I made $1, I'll be a millionaire. So I was very kind of delusional in that sense and inexperienced. So that was my journey into business, into digital marketing, into even outsourcing, because I didn't know how to do anything at all. And so I stumbled across outsourcing in terms of working with offshore people, only because I had limited funds and I just had no other way. And when I was looking out for solutions, I came across websites such as Odes at the time, which is now called Upwork. And I was just amazed at how the ability to be able to find anyone to do anything for you and at various costs, and sometimes it's just very, very cheap. And so I fell in love with it. But I also found the challenges in working with them, because if you don't know what you're doing, you'll get burnt. And I did, I remember wasting so much money on hiring the wrong people, believing in whatever they're saying to me and not actually getting the work done. And so I ended up, getting rid of that business because I never actually liked nail polish in the first place. And I also didn't realize that a product business was not giving me the freedom. I was still in my spare bedroom shipping these products out. And that was not the way I imagined an online business was going to be. And so I started a marketing agency, actually out of realizing I had these skills in marketing and outsourcing, working with offshore team. And then just other business owners needed the same thing as what I was able to develop for myself. And then a few years into the marketing agency, I just once again pivot. You're always looking at how to make it easier, better. And so I'm like, if I take myself out of being the project manager between the client and these offshore teams, I can actually save them more costs, and all I have to do is really just match them with the right skill sets. And so I then pivot into Outsourcing Angel, which is where I then place the person to the business, and the client gets to work directly and build them into the team like their own employee.
Mm-hmm. I'm interested in a couple of things here, particularly with the business, and I'm going to come back to the marketing. But businesses like yours aren't completely unique, of course. So what's the thing that makes your business stand out other than a great name?
Yeah. So I've been doing this for so long now, and we've pivoted so much. And I would say that our biggest strength is in the marketing assistance. So because I came from the marketing background, building an agency and really just loving what marketing can do. So we live and breathe marketing. So when we're hiring virtual assistants that do marketing, we can really, be that example for them. And we know how to recruit these people and kind of, like if you go out there, you see a lot of virtual assistant agencies and they say, yes, I can place marketing assistants for you. But you look at their own marketing and it's like, not that good. It really speaks for itself. And also what we do nowadays is very different to just placing a virtual assistant. We first actually help clients to identify what are the leaky buckets in their business. Maybe there is certain workflows and onboarding experiences that are ruining their opportunity to retain a client, even convert a client in the first place. And so we actually map out their full user experience and then identify the processes that need to be improved. And then we might even install certain tools and software, integrate it, let it talk to each other so that even a person doesn't have to do that. And then we place the virtual assistant in there. So we're quite techie in that sense. And we also have over 10 years of working remotely. I don't have an office in the Philippines. Our 20 people internal team are all from Australia and everywhere we're all remote. And then we have around 70 virtual assistants that work for clients remotely. And so I would say our skill set is in actually building a great culture and great team completely remote. And if someone's looking for that kind of guidance into running that kind of that business, then yeah, we're unique in that sense.
Yeah, I was going to say that really is coming into its own in the last few years, because that whole idea of remote work is now extended to people who are effectively local, right? Because that was the thing that in 5-6 years ago, the idea of remote teams really did mean overseas. First of all, they weren't really calling them remote teams, were they? There was everyone just referring to offshoring. And now this idea of remote teams is a reality for most businesses on a day-to-day basis. It particularly the larger the businesses are, the less likely that all the staff are together more than once.
Family who work for big corporations and they even have offices around Australia, and yet all these people are working from home and they're loving it. They're just like, we don't want to go back. And I don't think any of them are ever going back to the office. They actually are just looking for jobs that are going to provide them that opportunity to work from home. And even the ones that said, some days at home, some days at work, they still choose to just work from home the whole time. And I saw that over 10 years ago, and I'm glad I'm still there.
So that's what you saw 10 years ago. So tell me what you're seeing happening in the next few years. How do you see things developing?
I think more and more people are going to be empowered to start their own business because of now they realize that they can work from home and that, they can be productive. And, with the world being so open to offshoring, working with more people, I think more and more people are going to start their own business. And I even share my knowledge on my own YouTube channel, telling people how to start any type of services that you want online. And what's good is that then for me, I'm passionate about that because it means that you will be able to create jobs for people from around the world in developing countries, in more disadvantaged areas. And so I just think that it's going to be even more globalized. It's going to be lots of even mini businesses, small businesses. Everyone's going to be there's going to be a lot more entrepreneurs. I find entrepreneurs are going to be younger as well. The entrepreneurs of our generations are teaching our kids to be entrepreneurs more important than going to school and going to get a job. And so I think it's just, the world is really, really changing in that way. And I think that then, of course, as you see, AI is coming on board. It means that it's actually going to level up a lot of people's skill set. So, I myself, I'm not good at writing. I hated English in school. And I used to suck at writing blog articles or content. And nowadays, I can't believe I can use AI and actually write something. And of course, I can edit a little bit, but it's doing all the thinking for me. And so it means that even a lot of the virtual assistants that work from, non-English, as in, not that it's non-English, but what I mean is, like, if English isn't their first language, they can level up, they can step up. And by putting some search in there, it can already create kind of the foundation of the article, and then they can just kind of edit it. And so I think that, it's just going to be more powerful in the future.
Yeah, AI is a really interesting subject, and it's one, well, I know we can talk about for ages. I recently ran a forum and we discussed the all around AI from a whole lot of different perspectives. And there's the exciting bit, and there's the very scary bits that are related to it. But I think the interesting message is, though, that AI definitely can help you in terms of some of that basis. What I think gets lost is the unique stories and the unique experiences that you have. And like you told us a little bit about how you started. And I think those things are the differentiator and the reason people come to you, which is, it sort of brings me along to your marketing and stuff, because you've grown your business quite well over the last few years. So what's the marketing secret that's got you there?
So I think maybe 5-6 years ago, when I just had this realization that you really need to get out there, really show your face, build a personal brand, because you can't just hide behind closed doors anymore. And at first I didn't want to be famous. I didn't want to be, be in front of the camera, because I didn't need all that light shine on me. But then I realized, people like Oprah, who I look up to, the reason why she can touch so many people's lives, make such a big impact, is that she's willing to be in front of people. And so I kind of got over myself and my own fear of embarrassment, or not wanting to be famous, because I don't want to look like, that I'm up myself or anything. I then really realizing that if I want to make an impact in the world and also grow my business, because I believe that, people, if they have my service, that their business will improve. And so with that desire, I basically decided to really work on my personal brand. And it meant that I really had to study YouTube marketing, really getting videos out there, and then keyword optimize and, get found. And so with videos, we're able to repurpose it all across social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. And so we've been building a content machine. And, at first it felt like there was no traction. It was hard for me, let alone, even waiting for results to come. But surprisingly, after a year or so, we started to see inbound leads. It's not about my own connections in real life or people who know me personally. It's actually people who don't know me. They just know me of me online. So I think that has been the key to our growth, and it allows you to build a business that doesn't depend on you, depend on who knows you, personally. And so I feel like the business has been able to scale, and I feel like I can actually have a holiday and feel that the business will still run without me.
Yeah, I think it's such an amazing place to be in. But I know what you mean. Content is so important, and that genuine and authentic kind of style of content is so hard for people to understand that they need to do. It's such an important part of business. But even with all of that stuff out there, I'm intrigued. What's the one thing that you wish everybody knew about what you did and the business and the kind of business that you have that they just don't seem to always understand?
Often they think of hiring a virtual assistant as if they are hiring a particular marketing service or something, or like a product. And what we really want them to see is that you get the best result when you can treat them as your long-term staff. So I have staff that are with me from the beginning of my business. I'm talking about even in the days of my marketing agency, which is like over 10 years ago. They're still here, and they bring the best value for me because they know my business inside out. I trust them so much. One of my virtual assistant who's from the Philippines is actually my finance manager. So this is a girl that has all my credit cards, does all my payroll. I trust her more than any even Australian staff that I've hired over the years, right? And so, and yeah, I mean, at a fraction of the cost of an employee, but the loyalty, the type of culture that the people in the places like the Philippines have, I feel like you can only get those reward if you invest in them like a staff member. Unlike, and sometimes when, business can get tough, it can get challenging. And the first thing they might think of is, since they're a VA, I'll just cancel the service and, say goodbye, and they can go and find another job. Because it just kind of still feels like it's a product and not really an employee. And so I always find it's a waste. I'm like, no, and sometimes it's like, oh, I love my VA. It's working so well, but, I'm just going through a rough path, rough phase, and I'm just going to cancel for now. And I'm like, wow, it's such a waste, because if you hold on to her, she will be that shining light for you eventually in the future.
It's really interesting. I know exactly what you mean, that there's a tendency to think of team that you hire from overseas as not really being part of your team. So if someone was local, you wouldn't actually treat them that way. And yet these people are exactly, they're people as well. They've got families, they've got, all the same situations that you do. And, I know I've had people with me for, I think one team member's been with me for over 7 years. The other's been with me for over 3, and one for a couple of years. And they're all similarly, located in the Philippines and in different parts of the Philippines. So it's a huge asset. And I think if you treat them as part of your team, it's such a big game changer, and that's so nice to have team. And I think when people don't treat them that way, it's to your detriment. So appreciate that feedback.
Because the beautiful thing about the Philippines culture is that they love to a steady job. As long as you take care of them and show them some growth, they would always stay around. And I think sometimes in Australia, we live in such a privileged country, and people do jump around for other opportunities. And I think it's just, I feel like we can take advantage of that opportunity to invest in those staff members, and then they will stay with us for a long run.
Just to wrap things up, I wanted to ask you one question. You've been in business for a while now. So if you had to say, what's the greatest lesson that you've learned in business?
I think the greatest lesson is in learning how to actually lead, and really just knowing how to control your emotions throughout any crisis in business. I think no matter what challenges I've been through, I have never kind of freak out, make drastic things like cutting staff and just go, I'm sorry, I need to get rid of you. I've always kind of looked at the solution and focus on the people and the purpose, and try to move on from that. And I think as a leader, if you can just stay strong in times of uncertainty, and also being able to make courageous decisions. So sometimes, I know a lot of business owners who are, they let things slide more. If a staff member isn't working, they just, don't really do anything about it because it's too hard to talk. And I feel like, what's really helped me is just being able to really make firm decisions. You can be kind and generous and do all the right things, but then sometimes in business it does call upon you to do the hard things. And then just really holding yourself together. And I think what's important is having a really great personal time management, having time to take care of yourself so that you can bring your best self to business.
Fantastic. Lynn, just to finish up, I know we like to include, and we will include the details with the podcast, but tell us about the Systemize and Scale Up program. That's we're going to give people a direct link to that. It's on your website. Do you want to just tell us about that in a few seconds, and we'll leave it for people to explore after
sure.
the show?
Yeah, so this is the service that we've been having for about a year. So this is when you time poor, your systems are all over the place. You don't even have the process ready. You want extra pairs of hands of real, Australian consultants to come in and actually help you. So we systemize, we integrate softwares, and then we'll even train your virtual assistant for you so that you're not left alone because you're already busy, let alone having to bring on a new VA. So that's what SNS is all about.
Love it. Oh, that's such a good idea. And I know, been there and done that and need that kind of assistance. It's definitely a great program. So I appreciate that. Lynn, it's been fantastic talking to you, and I'm glad to have you guest on Biz Bites. And I look forward to people continuing the conversation with you and listening into the next episode as well.
Thank you, Anthony, for the opportunity. Bye.